The problem with this first pull are the stores and the maguses. Right now in beta and plus 12s, the stores are way overtuned, so their dots do a lot of damage. Usually in the 15, you just pull this entire room. For now, it's okay to just pull 2 stores with a magus, or if you're not comfortable with the team, you can even just pull 1 steward with 1 magus. Wait to finish this pack, and then chain in the rest. And then you just go right for the Emberdawn wing. And we pull this in one group, it's very similar to that first pull. For the next one, interrupt the steward and bring them all into this corridor with the hatchlings. Watch out for the ground effects when the hatchlings die, they're gonna spray poison. Also make sure if you have a poison dispel and magic dispel that you use it for this, because the dots will do a lot of raw damage. After that, you can jump down to the lower level and do a similar pull with the hatchlings and the spiders. Once again, the poisons do a lot of damage, so just make sure where you're stepping and make sure that you have those poison dispels ready. After that, we're going to pull the entire next room. Just make sure not to step on the ice traps. The Apex Lynx does a puncturing bite bleed on the tank that hits for a lot, so be careful with a defensive. Otherwise, it's just more of the same. Once we get outside, move along the edges so we at least pull 2 groups of lashlings and bring them with a bloated lasher for this first pull. After the lashlings are dead, bring the rest of the groundskeepers along this outer edge. As we head into the next pull, move along the edge so we spawn at least 1 group of lashling and then bring them into the Dragonhawks. So Blizzard has nerfed these Dragonhawks a lot. Before they used to do a party-wide AoE, but now they only target 1 person for their fire spit. All you have to do is CC that. And then we head into our first boss. For the tank, all you have to do is tank this boss in the middle, and his tankbuster is a searing beak that leaves a dot on you, so be careful with that. It's more on the group to bring those fire pools along the edges and run away from the tornadoes as they appear. Also, when the boss goes into his second phase, he'll fire frontal cones at someone. We just need to get out of the way and not get hit. Similar to that first bridge, we just take this group in one pull. Same thing that we did on the other side. Bring in this first pack by the door and the second pack by the corridor and bring them all into that hallway. The cutthroats here will attempt to poison their blades, you can interrupt that. The Woebringer casts Shadow Bolts, but it's her AoE ability that you guys need to be careful for. After you clean up that pool, jump down to the lower level where you can meet the Flesh Behemoth. Watch where you're walking because he spits poison on the ground. As the tank, you can slowly kite the mobs backwards. Going into this next room, make sure you interrupt that Woebringer and bring them all outside. Once again, be careful of the Woebringer's pulsing shriek AoE, make sure to interrupt that when you get the chance. Everyone else you've seen. Latch and Kalis are actually pretty simple. Make sure to interrupt Kalis' casts. When Latch does his poison AoE, just make sure your group moves them to the side. As the tank, watch out for Latch's bone hack ability. And then when they do their hookshot and AoE ability, just make sure the party knows not to stand in between the hookshot. And for Kalis' Curse of Darkness ability, just make sure your party knows not to hit those mobs and to run away if they fixate on you. All you can do is CC them. If your DPS is on point and you're doing the ground splatter ability correctly, you shouldn't need to use the entire wing. If for some reason your DPS is a little slower, make sure that the ground splatters are always on the edges so that leaves more clear space in the middle for you to maneuver. And finally, like all council fights, make sure they die at the same time. And in this next wing, you're going to meet the archers, the phalanx breakers, and the soldiers. The phalanx breakers charge, archers shoot ground stuff, make sure to dodge that. The soldiers don't really do much. You don't need to rush this, don't have to pull this all in one go. After going down this ramp, don't worry about the mobs on the left, drag all these mobs together, and you can go all the way to the Mystic if you feel like it. The Mystic does the most damage because of his cast and his AoE. The Marauders will do a Whirlwind attack that you need to dodge, and the Wargs stack a bleed. So make sure that your group, especially your healer, is on top of things. However, while you're inside this room, make sure not to pull the mobs on the left. Once again, don't feel the need to pull this all in one go, you can actually split this in 2. After you've thinned out some of the mobs, you can chain in the leftovers by this gate. And when all that's done, you have one final pack inside this room. So the hardest part of this boss is the coordination required for the group, but it's actually not that bad because when he does his fear, you can actually just pick your partner and they can just stick together. You don't have to stick into one large blob. For the tank, be careful of the rampage ability, that's a tankbuster. And obviously when he leaps, just run out of all the circles on the ground. Lastly, when he spawns the ads, just make sure you're giving the tank enough time to pick up threat. That means if you're not sure what to do, head towards the tank, because the tank will most likely be doing a massive AoE and taunting every which way. Obviously silence that caster, and if you get fixated by the Blade Storm, run out of the group. And for Sylvanas, just make sure to dodge the arrows. And for her large AoE ability, you need to just pick an arrow and stick close to it. Don't randomly run around like a chicken, because you're going to be confusing the rest of the group and not know which one to pick. I've seen cases where people are stealing others' arrows because no one knows which arrows everyone else is taking. If you make it very evident which arrow you're taking, you will not be stealing anyone else's arrow. So her other abilities are pretty simple, in particular for the tankbuster hit. they've nerfed it, so it no longer does a crazy 200% debuff. Now it only does a 40% debuff on you, but you can't use an arrow to get rid of it. What that means is you just have to take that debuff for 10 seconds, so make sure to stack defensives. Also make sure that your back is to a wall, or if absolutely necessary, get knocked in an arrow to stop you from being knocked off. And that's it. I hope you found this route helpful. Keep playing, keep watching, and I'll see you next time.